What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic and excellent spirits as we get set for another live stream. And I see a couple people in there. Bio. Oh, Bastien. Oh, that just popped up right there. Bastien. Welcome. And at the same time, not to just knowing the news about your pup, my condolences to you. I can't even imagine. I have my pup who's 3.5, and please, just to know that was the case, I have to send my condolences to you here. But I appreciate you hopping on board during these tough times. Thank you so much. It's been a long time since I've seen you. I know I haven't done my podcast pre-games in quite some time. Who knows? I may go back to that maybe when we get to the football season. But right now, it is just us with you there, me here. Bio, there he is. Greetings, my man. A lot of talk on the baseball scene, which I'll get to momentarily. Val, yes, match I may likely play tomorrow. Now, who knows what's going to happen there as far as this trade value goes. So we got that cooking. Oh, you're welcome. Absolutely. And yes, Waffle Line, a.k.a. Minnesota Fats, a.k.a. Fuko Johnson, a.k.a. Tatsuya Mai, Everyday Mets, Dad's Chips, Kai Boy Bull. You already know. Yes, we're going to talk about that. I know. Especially that last sentence. And it'll be interesting to see how what Bio has to say about that. Because, yeah, that's kind of crazy to commute back and forth day in, day out, especially on those long homestands. Now, remember, once upon a time, Wilt Chamberlain did that. Wilt Chamberlain, when he played for the Warriors, Philadelphia Warriors, not Golden State, where he used to commute. I believe he lived in Harlem, if I'm not mistaken, and took a limo from there to Philadelphia and even Hershey, for that matter, when they played the 100-point game, March 2nd, 1962. So that's where we're at. And Val, yes, we're going to talk about that later on, right there in the middle. Macklin Celebrini, that is some big news there in the NHL. But as always, welcome everybody. It is, I thought I updated that. It's not July 22nd. What am I living in the past here? Maybe I didn't save that. My bad. Let's pop that up one more time. There we go. 2 more days of July. Before you know it, August. And then we're going to be counting down to an NFL season, which we will talk about the NFL a little bit later with training camps open. You got some injuries. You got some re-signings. And some of those injuries actually taking place in Pittsburgh, which I do not like. do not like. Let me clear my throat. Cheers to everybody. H2O. So a lot of NFL news that we'll have to touch on. And looking forward to getting into that. As you already know, share your thoughts in the chat room. Post it on screen. You know the deal. Those watching a replay, leave a comment anyway. You may be saying, all right, well, Jay Reels, why am I going to leave a comment? You're not going to watch this, but I do get the comments. So if you do not agree, or maybe you do agree, or you want to debate whatever it is I have to say here over the course of the next couple hours or so, please leave a comment. I will follow up. And speaking of which, let me get back to some of these final comments here before I move it along. Bastien, what's your opinion on? Yeah, that was, I don't want to say it was a surprise, and I don't really have my fingers on the pulse of everything that's going on in soccer, despite the fact that I was following the World Cup rather closely. But Zinedine Zidane, listen, I think you would think it's a smart move. I don't know how he is as far as a coach. We understand that he was a great player, a legendary player, especially in France. And considering that they didn't even get the 3rd place overall after losing to England, and we know that they got beat by Spain, shut out. Did that mean that they had to bring in a new coach? I guess they had to. The other coach was Deschamps out, and now you have Didier Deschamps. Is that how you pronounce his name? Didier. Yeah, Didier Deschamps. Him being jettisoned to bring in Zidane. Then listen, why not? We understand where he is as far as in France, as far as his popularity, as far as just everything, what he means to his country as a player, now as a coach. I guess I'm for it. One more time, not that I have my tentacles all over that particular story or what's really going on there in France when it comes to their soccer team, but you know what? Hey, why not? And bio. Florida Marlins going to be sells at the deadline. Well, it's interesting because I'm going to talk about the Phillies, and they play their final game. I was trying to get it up on the TV, not that I've been able to see it from here. Very interesting series that's taking place there down in Miami between the Marlins and Phillies. I'm going to get to the baseball momentarily. But to answer that, do I think they're going to be sellers? I think what we're going to find out today, if the Marlins win today and they come up to New York to play the Mets for a 4-game series, I think by them winning today is going to say a lot as to what they're going to do. Now, granted, they could come up here and get swept by the Mets, which I know sounds kind of crazy, but you got to remember, when the Marlins came up to Citi Field, about late May? I think it was right around Memorial Day or right before it. The Mets actually swept them, and that was on top of the Marlins sweeping the Mets the week before. As a matter of fact, that's when it was, where the Mets were able to take care of business. Now, would it be out of the realm of possibility the Mets sweep? Probably. But if they take 3 out of 4, considering that the Mets, obviously, they have not played well, but they've won the last 2 games. Had the rain out yesterday to have a doubleheader against the Braves today. Who knows? But I'm going to touch on that a little bit more, and I think today's going to be indicative of that, and I wish I could actually watch that, or at least keep my eyes on that. I do have the monitor here, but obviously do not have the TV connected to that, so I could be able to watch. So, Toppers, no NFL, yuck. Well, you don't want to talk about NFL? J-Rod, my man, you've been missed. What is happening? And, of course, the Fishing Angel, I don't know if she's jumped on, but if she hasn't, shout out to her. She's, of course, a big follower and watcher as well. I know. Could be his last start today. And based on some stuff that I heard, I know Jeff Pass and ESPN came out to say that, yes, the likelihood of him being traded will happen. Where he goes, that remains to be seen. And that's going to circle back to Bio and his team momentarily when I break down the MLB segment. And Chase Burns. Yes, I know you like the Reds. Signing bonus, part of 105. Yep. Now, what's interesting about that signing, Chase, I don't know, have they signed Hunter Green long-term? I know he's had some injury issues, but I would think if you're the Reds, and I understand with Burns being in the mix, my thing is that you got to get Hunter Green. Let me look him up real quick to see where his contract status is. Hunter Green. And that's a good one, Bastien. Yeah, he did sign that 6 years, $53 million contract. Could you imagine? Now, it runs through 28. So he does have $21 million club option for 29, $2 million buyout. So he's pretty much signed through 2029, considering that the team has a club option. Now, that is a team-friendly contract, so I'm sure Hunter Green's probably thinking, geez, why didn't I wait around to get the bigger payday that Burns got? No, listen, it's a smart move by the Reds because we don't know what the CBA is going to be like or the new CBA after December 1st. If it's a situation where they were able to sign their player on a dotted line now, of course, I understand it could have been cheaper, quite possibly, when you got to after the CBA or next year. And based on some of the things that I've read in regards to the owners, thinking that next year could be a long year, meaning that there may not be baseball, which they could say that now. And who knows? I'm sure they're going to stick to that. And I don't want to talk about labor stuff just yet. We'll wait till we get deeper into the season, especially once we get past the playoffs and the World Series. But I would think that as good of a deal that was for Hunter Green, I think it's just as good for Burns. I mean, 6 for 100, what was that, 7 for 105? I mean, you break it down, that's $15 million a year annually, and I'm sure it's going to increase as we move it along. But I mean, listen, that is as sweet of a deal as you could get when you look at, and I understand Blake Snell has a track record, 2 Cy Youngs, et cetera, but here it is. The Dodgers are paying him $30 million for, what is it, 6 years, $180 million. I mean, and Blake Snell doesn't pitch. I understand he'll be healthy come October and he'll be raring to go, and I'm sure he's going to pitch well just like he did last October. But, I mean, listen, you're not getting banged for your buck if you're the Dodgers in that regard. And even though you could just kind of wait until the calendar turns to October until he's good and ready to pitch, but the Dodgers could afford that. The Reds can't. So that's why I think that was a smart deal by them signing him to that deal. Yeah, Jay Scooble's last start. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. I'll get to some of these other comments momentarily. I just want to get the live on its tracks here. And let me get to number one, which is this. 5 days. Now, I get it. We're still, off the top of my head, let me think. 5 days and less than 6 hours away from the deadline coming and going. And I'm sure a lot's going to happen between, I would say, if not later today, probably tomorrow morning. I wouldn't be surprised if dominoes start to fall. Now, I understand we had the first domino more on a low scale, although I didn't like the trade. And how could you like it now if you're a Red Sox fan, considering, and of course, wasn't his fault, but they traded Conley early to lefty for Curtis Mead. I talked about it on Monday's podcast. And then what happens? Curtis Mead gets hit by a pitch, breaks his wrist, and who knows how long he's going to be out. So the power that they got from Washington now has all of a sudden been sapped. And not to say that he was going to be the end-all, be-all if you're Craig Breslow, the GM of the Red Sox, but they're still going to have to go out there, probably have to get 2 more bats to replace Mead because we don't know how long he's going to be out. And, yeah, if you're Breslow, I'm sure you're going to be scrambling even that much more to try to get some offense into your lineup because, I mean, you can't even make that up. You bring in this guy, Mead, who has had a big year offensively. Mind you, he's been on a million teams, and to me, in my eyes, unproven. I get it, Conley early has had injury trouble, but he's a young left-handed pitcher, and I get it, the Red Sox have a ton of lefties. But unless you're getting back somebody of ilk, somebody that you know is going to be penciled into that lineup day in, day out, not only for this year, but for years to come, if it was C.J. Abrams or if it was James Wood. And if I were the Nationals, I wouldn't have done that. And I still wouldn't do that, even though Abrams' name could be floating around here over the course of the next 5 days. Yeah, that was, to me, a bad deal. And now with Mead out and knowing that the Red Sox still need some bats, let's see how that fares. But that's been the only trade here over the last few days, which makes you think, what is going to be that first tree that's going to fall in the forest? And then after that, you would think there could be several other trees because I can't look at this 5-day stretch here and think there's going to be no activity. I can't. And I got to say this too. I would be shocked if I get to Monday's podcast. And listen, there are going to be deals made. To what degree, we'll have to wait and see. But it's a bit alarming that nothing has really transpired. I think a lot of it has to do with so many teams being in the mix right now for the postseason. And if you want to factor in the CBA for next year, if it's going to be a player that they're going to bring for the past this year, all right, fine, if it's not a rental. But even still, that shouldn't deter GMs from trying to bring in reinforcements to try to add to the team, considering the American League is wide open. And the National League, you got 6 teams battling for one spot. So I would think it's going to be very active. I would say starting tomorrow, maybe not in the morning, maybe in the afternoon. And then from that point on into the weekend, I'm sure there are going to be plenty of deals. To what degree and to the extent of the type of player that's going to be traded. Now, if a utility player is going to get traded, or all right, that's fine. But if we're talking big time, if we're talking Tarek Skubal, if we're talking Mason Miller, to a lesser degree because of this contract, and I don't know if he's going to be moved, Francisco Lindor, now you're cooking. But right now, I can't even forecast what is going to take place here with all of the players that have been rumored to be moved and when this is all of a sudden going to start taking place. Because you figure that once that, as I mentioned, metaphorically speaking, once that domino, once that tree falls, then you would think that's what's going to set the tone for the remainder of the weekend into Monday by 6 p.m. And that's it. But yeah, as you see here in the second part, GMs, wake up. Let's get cooking. And I understand, right, there may not be a rush. I get it that, they're going to, with a fine-tooth comb, go through whatever it is that they need to do to try to bring these players onto their teams. But before you know it, it'll be Friday. Are they really waiting to find out which is going to be that first team that's going to make a move? And I'll say this before I get to the rumors. I think you're going to see Skubal moved. I know that on Monday and even last week, I've been, no pun intended, to waffle iron. I've been waffling back and forth. But based on my opinion, I think that the Tigers should trade Skubal. I know last week I said otherwise, and on Monday I said no, they should trade him. I understand that they're in the running there in the American League wild card, an outside shot for the division, but you got to get something back. The Tigers, even if they make the postseason, and let's say even if they got a fifth starter or maybe a veteran bat, are they really going to challenge for a World Series and win the World Series? I'm not trying to say, get to an LCS, get to a World Series. We're talking about winning the whole thing. If that was the case where they had an excellent shot to win the whole thing, you keep Skubal. And I understand you roll the dice for them, and then you can only hope, as I mentioned the other day, whatever that new CBA is, whether you are able to keep Skubal at 6 years for, let's say, $240 million, if they're willing to extend to go that far. And to me, that would be a plus, because let's say if you're the Tigers and you get through the mess and Armageddon of a CBA to where you try to retain this player, and if you go ahead and say, here it is, 6 for 240, what do you say? And if Skubal thumbs his nose at that and goes elsewhere, then you know what? The Tiger fan, they can just applaud their front office from now to kingdom come, because at least they made an attempt to keep him here. Because no deals are going to be made once the World Series is over. So it's not like, hey, Tarek Skubal, Scott Boras, they could cheer all they want. Hey, we're a free agent. We could go wherever we want. There's a CBA. And I understand that Boras is going to be highly influential as to where the CBA is going to go. Hate to say it, but it's true. He's not going to have the last word. That's going to be Bruce Meyer and the head of the interim head of the Players Association. But we know that Boras has his fingerprints on some of what's going on here with this negotiation. Because his executive committee, a lot of those people, if you date back to the last CBA, had Max Scherzer, Garrett Cole, I believe, was on that. There was another Boras client. I mean, come on. We're talking about the top players that are making top dollar. This isn't the rank and file. This isn't the utility infielder or the third reliever or the 25th man on the bench, or 26th in this case, that is on the roster. Those are the guys that, they want to get back to playing. They want to be able to make money. The executive committee, come on. These guys got money to burn. And here I am talking about the CBA. But it does factor into the positioning here over the next 5 days, because if it's a situation where if the Tigers do trade him, they could probably get him back next year, and even for a year less. So if he gets traded to the Dodgers, which wouldn't be good because the Dodgers would probably resign him. But let's say if the Tigers wanted to throw their hat in the ring, they can do that because they could re-sign him for a 5-year deal. Let's say it's, dare I even say, 5 years at $300 million, where it's $60 million a year. Now, it's not going to be the case, but you know what? Then that's when the Dodgers are going to have to pony up and give him that extra $50 million or whatever it is in order to keep him. Now, I think the Tigers would extend themselves that far, but that's what the new CBA could bring. We shall see. But now as we turn our attention, so I think Skubal, yes. Mason Miller, if I'm the Padres, I wouldn't trade him now. I would trade him in the offseason. And I understand the new ownership there, but why rush? I understand they have a pretty decent bullpen as it is, and they could slot another guy into Mason Miller's closer role, but I would wait till the offseason to where they could really take a lay of the land. They could really try to get a ton, and they could get a ton from now, But what's the rush? He's not a free agent until after 2029. And right, they're going to look at the landscape of, oh, well, we don't know what the new CBA. That shouldn't matter for you guys because he's still under your possession. You still have him here for the next 3 years. So you can wait till after the CBA, and even, let's say if it happens to be March 1st, I don't know if you want to deal him then, and no negotiations, but still, you have 3 years with this guy. I understand you want to reload your farm system, and I'm sure the Yankees are going to be that one team because they have a surplus of minor leaguers and prospects that you certainly will gobble up, knowing that Miller is right now the best closer in the sport. But if I'm them, I don't think he'll – if I'm the Padres, I wouldn't trade him. Do I think he will get traded? I think the likelihood is higher than lower, but I don't think they will, though. For some reason, I could see it being a thing where you're going to hear all this scuttlebutt about where he's going to go, and the next thing you know, 6 o'clock comes by, and you're refreshing your Twitter feed, and you're looking, Mason Miller. Oh, I guess he hasn't gotten traded. Because, again, what's the rush? And that obviously remains to be seen. But as far as any rumors, not a lot has been cooking. But I did read one, and it's for you, Waffle Iron. Jeff Passan had reported that there could be a reunion between Freddie Peralta, the former Brewer, who's now a Met. And listen, if that's the case, I'll get in my car right now, pick up Freddie Peralta, and drive him to Milwaukee. No offense. Again, we know the parameters of everything that I do when it comes to podcasts, live streams, my opinions, my content. This is always business, never personal. So if Peralta's going to go, now it's funny, could they bring back the same talent that they sent in the process last year? Chances are it's not going to be the case. They're not going to ask for Jet Williams or Brandon Sproat. No, not at all. But I'm sure they're probably going to get either a high-level AA or a low or mid-level AAA prospect or two to come back. Does that mean Jet Williams comes back? Who knows? Probably not. I mean, the Brewers aren't going to be that stupid. They figure that, hey, well, we got these two players for a reason. We're not going to all of a sudden do you the favor to send them back or to send Sproat or Williams back. So I wouldn't expect that. But, hey, I'll take one of your prospects. Like I said, high double or mid-level AAA, or maybe just one high-level AAA prospect. Similar to what we saw many moons ago, I understand different regime, when Carlos Beltran was a rental sent to San Francisco for Zach Wheeler. And I understand had Tommy John in 2014, missed all of 2015, didn't come back till 16. But how has he turned out as a major league pitcher? I mean, listen, that's not to say that that's going to be the case this time around, but hey, wishful thinking, right? So we'll see what's going to happen there. And I'm hoping that's the case because obviously Peralta, who started on Sunday, and I think they'll probably hold off. He'd be scheduled to start Friday if need be. But I would think that if he's going to get traded in the next couple of days, they could ship him, and then whomever that team may be could pencil him into their next start, whether it be that Saturday or even into the weekend Sunday. So that we'll have to wait and see. But I hope Peralta, as well as many other Mets, I'm sure Luke Weaver, Brooks Raley, you name it. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other Mets out there. Francisco Lindor, I don't think that's going to happen. A lot has to happen in order for that to take place, and mainly because of his contract. And as I've said a million times, bringing a contract back that's close to that, that is a deal that's going to be for the offseason. But as we all know, that offseason is going to be all about the CBA, which you would think is going to go up to the 11th hour into next year, probably you would think anywhere between February 15th and March 1st, if we're lucky as baseball fans. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But come on, GMs, let's get cracking. Anything happened here? Let me see. Maybe something has happened here over the last few minutes. Excuse me. No, none at all. Does anybody want Shane Bieber after his 6-walk performance in the first inning yesterday against Washington? So you got that cooking there as far as baseball goes. And Bieber, who knows? Bieber would be typical Milwaukee or would the Pirates get involved? Who knows? But I can almost see that being a pitcher of that ilk. And I understand he won a Cy Young during the pandemic year, but more of a low-level team or mid-level team in baseball. I won't say low-level. But, yeah, I can see the Pirates. Who knows? Maybe the Rangers. The Rangers, they're not mid-level. But, right, it's not the Dodgers. It's not the Yankees. It's not the Phillies. Phillies are rumored with Kevin Gausman maybe. Who knows? Could Bieber be there? Plan B, quite possible. So, yeah, that's what you have with the rumors. Not a lot really percolating in that regard. But, between now and tomorrow, if anything does happen, I'll talk about it on the podcast tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So definitely stay tuned for that. Now, I'm going to get to building the perfect trade deadline for Yankees Mets. Let me read this here real quick. Yankees, Mason Miller, no shock. Ryan Jeffers. Excuse me, that's the catcher. Hunter Goodman. Zach Neto. To me, Zach Neto, unless they're shipping Volpe the other way, because remember, they got George Lombard, and I understand they can play Neto at second. You want to move Chisholm to third. You move Ryan McMahon. I mean, but that's, to me, if they're going to do that, the Yankees, and bring in Zach Neto, the shortstop for the Angels, then it's like you got to play musical chairs. All right, you throw Neto at short. All right, great. I don't know. Is he a free agent after this year? I know he's probably still has a couple of years left, no? Neto. Yeah, I'll have to look him up. I would think his contract, maybe he has another year left, but why would the Yankees entertain that? Knowing that he has to look over his shoulder for a guy like George Lombard Jr. Oh, here we go, contract. Yeah, he's in salary arbitration. Yeah, I mean, he's not a free agent. Think about this. He's not going to be a free agent until after the 29 season. So if the Yankees bring him in, and I know Jazz Chisholm, I believe, isn't he going to be a free agent after this year? It's just one of those things where it's like, I get it. You're going to look toward the future, but no, I think that'd be a mess if you're the Yankees. I'm sorry. I understand. Oh, let's plug and play. Let's do it. No. You don't want to do that. So I disagree there. But let me see what else they had in this article. I'm fascinated. More so for the Mets. Yeah, Neto, Mets. Unload Freddie Peralta, Luis Robert Jr. Yeah, who's going to take Luis Robert Jr.? Clay Holmes. What is his prognosis as far as his health goes? And I understand he's been rumored too. Oh, he could go back to the Yankees. A, why? And B, the guy hasn't pitched since the middle of May when he got knocked out of a game after taking a shot off his leg, a line drive against the Yankees. Tyrone Taylor may get traded because he's been hot with the bat. He's a reserve outfielder for the Mets. Get a big return for Luke Weaver or Huascar Brazoban. Yeah, they could get more for Weaver, and he's owed $11 million next year, by the way. Acquire Reed Detmers or another starter for 2027 beyond. All right, so that's enough of that. Let me get your comments, and then I'll get on to the next thing in regards to baseball, what I want to talk about. Let's see where we're at. Comments are piling. I love it. I'm going to start from the top. Let's see. Yes, Val, Bastien. All right, I want to go back to Waffle Iron here. King of Sixers in New York. Why is he living in Manhattan but playing in Philly using a chopper to go to work? Yeah, I wonder how the Philly fan feels about that. I'm sure as much as they have an inferiority complex towards New York, and then the thing that LeBron's going to live here, they can't be happy with that. And not that should matter, but let's just say for argument's sake, LeBron starts to slip a little bit. Not as far as his health, but just from a standpoint of his production. Now he's averaging 14 points a game as opposed to 21 points a game. Are the Philly fans going to get on LeBron? Are they going to boo him? Are they going to say, stop taking a helicopter from New York to Philly? This is why you've been suffering. This is why your production's going down. Listen, they'll find anything. But yeah, that's a bit of a surprise. And let me see. Can I type this in real quick? How long is a helicopter ride from Philly to New York to Philly? He's not even going to have an apartment there? I mean, think about this. What happens? Here we go. New York to Philly. 40 to 50 minutes, depending on the exact takeoff and landing points. How much would it cost LeBron to commute between Philly and New York? Let's see this. Hang on, guys. Including $581 million NBA earnings, 2-year, $8 million deal. Private charge between the two cities are no bargain for the average person, especially if the cost is not split. A typical flight starts at $6,000 one way for up to 5 to 6 passengers. Round trip flights are approximately double the one-way flight. And this is with Wing Air. Going with Wing Air round trip quote of $12,000. The cost for James would be $804,000 in flights over the course of the regular season, about 1/5 of James' salary. I mean, the guy's worth $1 billion. So, and I got news for you. Wing Air, they may not give him a discount, but I'm sure Wing Air, they're going to have LeBron. And let's say if it is Wing Air, whomever that company is, I'm sure they'll probably have maybe not a deal, but I'm sure something will come out to where he's going to be flying with this particular group, or maybe he has a private guy, who knows. But 40 to 50 minutes. So you mean to tell me, like, after games, after night games, he's going to fly? I mean, and then what about practice? I don't know. He was going to commute back and forth. And that's the other thing, too. The Sixers had 26 home practices last season. If James would have lived full-time in New York and commute to Philly by helicopter for every home game and practice, he would need the round-trip charter service 67 times, not factoring the playoffs. And now look at this. Some New Yorkers have gotten so sick of helicopter noise that there's a growing stop the chop movement to ban them for non-essential uses. Yeah, LeBron could buy his own helicopter or even rent one for that matter. Who knows? Yeah, I'm bringing this up. Wait, hold on. If James does live outside the Philly area, he wouldn't be the first Sixer to do so. J.J. Redick, yeah, I remember he lived in Brooklyn, played for the Sixers. He would drive down to the team's Camden practice facility for games in South Philly. Yeah, I mean, listen. Yeah, listen, LeBron can do what he wants, but that is wild, right? I mean, just to think he's going to take a helicopter to work. Wait a minute, I got to get this Peralta one out of here. Hold on. All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say. If I'm the management of the Sixers, I know he's LeBron. I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't. Yeah, and then you think about Kobe too. I mean, listen, obviously. Yes, Celebrini. I'm going to talk about that, Val. I got you. All right, Bastien. All right, Marlon sellers at deadline. I mentioned this earlier, Bio, and thanks for waiting on this. I think what happens today, what's the score? I know that game started. No score, bottom second. And your pitching matchup is Ryan Gusto for the Marlins and Jesus Luzardo, who was a former Marlin. So I think today is important because if the Marlins win this game, not only will they have swept the Phillies, but they'll be one game back of them in the wild card chase. And remember, they lost 12 in a row going into Monday's matchup. And if you didn't see Monday, they were down 7-5 in the ninth inning, and they scored 3 runs in the ninth inning to win. So talk about a way to snap a 12-game losing streak. So they win the first game, and you figured, all right, what's going to happen the next game? Maybe they'll go back to losing ways. No, they win in a pitcher's duel. Sandy Alcantara, 7 innings, no runs, 4 hits, I believe 1 walk and 5 strikeouts, as the Marlins win 1-0. And if they win today, sweep the series, a game behind the Phillies and I believe, if I look at the wild card, I think they'd still be behind probably by at least a half game. Let me just pull that up real quick. But the Marlins will show some life here because, they'll just be a game behind them and a game and a half back prior to. Now, they started the week, remember, they're 3 back, now they're 2 back. So, and the Diamondbacks, they split the first 2 games against Pittsburgh. Remember, that was a big series too. We'll talk more about that tomorrow as I break down series and things of that nature. But, I think if they win today and with them coming to New York over the weekend, I think they may be buyers. Now, I understand they can lose the first 2 games against the Mets and then get into Saturday and you're like, maybe we'll start selling. But, and listen, if the Marlins are going to start buying, they're not going to Tiffany's. All right? They're going to go to Kmart or maybe Walmart. We'll take a step up. So that's how I look at the Marlins. But I think today's game is pivotal because if they win, maybe they'll feel, we got a shot. We're still in this thing. Now that 12-game losing streak is in our rearview mirror, and now we've won 3 straight. That we'll have to wait and see. But let's see. What's going to happen with Matt Chapman? I don't know. He has all those years left on his deal, Val. And how I look at it is that I'm sure they like to unload him. But maybe there'll be a team out there. I wouldn't be surprised he goes, though. I know that the Giants would love to get Rafael Devers off the team, considering how much money they own. He's been a major disappointment. But no, I would think Chapman, listen, I can't say. Right now he's 50-50. Toppers, I don't know, NFL, huh? If you're still around, hopefully you still are. I'll get back to your comment if you had another comment after that. The Saturday City Field Celebrate. Yes. All the old timers will be there. 40 years. Are you going, by the way? Waffle Iron. There's something in my eye here. It's bothering me. Pardon. 40 years, geez. The good thing is that a lot of the Mets from that time are still around, which is great. And not that I want to go down that road, like who's around, who's not. I mean, pretty much everybody's still here, except for Gary Carter. Gary Carter's the one that is not with us anymore. And there may be another one, player or two. But everybody's around. We know Keith. We know Ron, Darryl, Doc, Kevin Mitchell, Sid Fernandez, Lenny Dykstra. That's Mark Samuels' guy. School's last start. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. So, Val, where did you hear they was going to get traded to? What rumors? I'm curious. I haven't seen anything. Green was in a similar position early in his career when he signed. Very good. Bastian's on top of it. I love it. Oh, yeah. You know how I feel about that. Uh-oh. Waffle Line prediction. No salary cap. Yeah, that's the thing. Now, what will the penalties be? Will they be a scenario where they'll have a luxury tax similar to what they have now? Is it going to be a hard cap? Something tells me, and listen, we understand that the structure now, there's a salary not a salary cap. There was a luxury tax which acts like a pseudo salary cap, but we all understand that it's not a salary cap. I think if you're Major League Baseball, there are two things. One, the deferred deal, there has to be a parameter or clauses in the new CBA to say, if you're going to do deferrals, you could do it to up to 3 players. How many players do the Dodgers have that's deferred money? I think about that. I think they have about 8 players. Matter of fact, let's type that up. And Bio, you know I'm not trying to pick on your team by any stretch. It's just for the sake of discussion. How many Dodgers, current Dodgers? Because you can't fool the system. Dodgers currently have 9 to 13 players with deferred money allocated. Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, Blake Snell, Teoscar, Will Smith, Tommy Edman, Tanner Scott, Edwin Diaz. Now look at this. People want to say Bobby Bonilla. I mean, who are we kidding? So I think they have to curtail that. You want to have 3 players where you can do that? Fine. You can't have 8, 9, 10 players. You can't do that. At least I don't. Philly, what's happening? Welcome back. I appreciate you stopping by, man. And I know you posted that almost half hour ago, so I hope you're still with us. But yeah, to go back to Waffle Iron, yeah, I think that's number one. They got to control that. They just can't have players sign and manipulate the luxury tax, even though they're still over it. Because think about it, if they didn't have deferred contracts, the Dodger payroll could be somewhere between $500 and $600 million. Remember, Shohei Ohtani's getting paid $2 million this year. And over the course of that contract, $20 million with the remaining $680 is deferred. Think about that. Now, I get it that the A's could do this. The Rockies could do this. The Pirates, all those low-level teams could do it. But that's not the way it should be operated. It should be operated fair and square across the board. And I get it that the Dodgers, it's fair what they're doing. They're not doing anything illegal. They're not doing anything that's wrong. But, and I understand, people could say, oh, with competitive balance, Jay Reels, look at the Brewers and what they're doing. Look at Cleveland. Look at Tampa. Look at Pittsburgh still in the mix. I understand that. But at the end of the day, are they winning World Series? They are not. And I'll even say this. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The Rays are not going to win the World Series this year. I'm saying that. Why? Because we've seen this team. Go back 5 years ago, 2021. They had 100 wins and had the best record in the American League. And what happened? They lost in the division series to the Red Sox, 4 games. That team is built for 162. They're not built for October. And you could say, well, what happened there during the pandemic year? They got to a World Series. They did, but they didn't win. End the story. You want to blame some of that on Kevin Cash pulling Blake Snell when he was throwing a one-hitter? You could say that. 3rd trip around the lineup, oh, I got to take him out. And then the team imploded. But those teams, the aforementioned Pirates, Rays, Brewers, do I even need to go to the Brewers? How many times I've talked about them? And I get it. If Brent Tolman was here, shout out to Brent north of the border. If Brent Tolman was here, he would come out and say, well, Jay Reels, you're basing this on last year with the Brewers. This is a whole new year. And they're neck and neck with the Dodgers as far as the top seed in the National League. What makes you think that they can't beat them this year? Well, sadly, I'll believe it when I see it. That's it. Because I don't think the Brewers are going to beat the Dodgers. I just don't. That's in my gut. And yes, I understand they got to play the games. I understand I don't have a crystal ball to think that, oh, the Brewers can't win. I mean, obviously, if they get to another championship series and they play against the Dodgers, all right, when we get there, and I don't care if the Brewers sweep the division series. and it could be against the Phillies. I'm still not going to be sold. That's just me. But waffle iron, yeah, to me, there has to be penalties. If you say there's going to be no salary cap, I mean, I could see that because the players aren't going to budge. But I will say this. If they do not start the season on time, and now this goes into May, June, where they're going to have to look at an aborted season and they're going to have to scramble around, similar to COVID, but unlike that COVID year because it was uncertain and unknown as to when the virus was going to subside. Not that it subsided, but you understand what I mean? But here, if they do agree, let's say June 1st, and they're going to start a season July 15th, at least they have a timetable where COVID was like, all right, we're going to do this now, and now we're going to have to cram everything in for a month and then try to get the season in. And if they do make a deal by June 1st, chances are there may be a salary cap attached to it. Because, again, the players think, as tough as they are and as bad as they are, and even with their union, but if the owners really stand pat and think that, we're not going out like this, players are going to lose. And even though I'm in the minority, because I know, and I've done some recon, well, not necessarily recently because I didn't ask that question. I should have asked that question to the Dodger fans when I was out by Yankee Stadium, and that content's coming soon, by the way. But if baseball were not to be played next year, would you come back in 2028? My answer, as you all know, is yes. They got to get it right. But there's a majority of people, whether they're good baseball, not diehard, good baseball fans or good sports fans, they may jump ship. They may say, I don't want to be. Change the adjustment of the lighting. That's another reason why my eyes are bugging out here. They may jump ship. They may say, I'm done with baseball. I don't want to deal with it. I'm tired of it. Although I don't remember 94. I was too young, whatever. But this is BS. Who knows? Because I'm talking about CBA. Well, I guess it's going to be part of the discussion here from here on out. So, Boston's interested in corner infielder. Now, if you're the Blue Jays, are you going to do that? Are you going to trade this guy away? He would be a good addition, no doubt. And he's had a big-time year. But I don't know, Bastian. I mean, he just got to Toronto. Listen, I'd be shocked. And then to trade him in the division, too. And even though I'm sure that's the rumor, and going by you, Bastian, but I wouldn't do it if I'm Toronto. Luke Weaver going first for the Mets. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Now that Celebrini is locked up, what do we do? Or what do we think, Will Smith? They'll lock him up, too. He's not going to get the money that Celebrini got. I mean, Celebrini is, come on, that guy is, he's a stud. And that's not to say Will Smith isn't, but he's not going to get anything close to that. And remember, there's a salary cap in hockey, so, but they're going to have to sign him. I think it's the year that deals won't be made. Really, Philly? Now, listen, I wouldn't be surprised, considering that the way things have gone to this point has been rather slow. That's why I said tomorrow, I think you're going to start seeing some activity. You may see activity today, but I think tomorrow for sure. What kind of activity? Does that mean Skubal? Does that mean Mason Miller? Does that mean any other big player? Who knows? But I would think starting tomorrow, whether it's early afternoon, mid-afternoon, and listen, if we go into the weekend and nothing's been made, let's say by Saturday morning, and maybe one deal has been made, I'd be surprised. But I would think once we get Saturday, that's a lot of stuff's going to be cooking at that point. And there it is. There's the news, which I'll talk about later on. Highest paid player in the NHL and NHL history. Just throwing that out there. So be on the trip. All right. IDK, I don't know if you're still with us, but greetings. Chosen One, greetings. Oh, Peralta. Blessings back to you. I appreciate you, Chosen. Yeah, I hope so too. Watch. Could you imagine this, Bet fans? Imagine David Stearns pulls off all these deals, trades Peralta, Weaver, gets Lewis Robert off the team. Should I say maybe Polanco? Maybe not. But let's say he makes 3, 4, 5 deals, and they all happen to be pretty good deals. Do we think of him differently? I won't. It'll certainly help his cause, but that doesn't automatically mean that I'm on the David Stearns bandwagon. No, no, no. But let's see what he gets in return. Yeah, Tua. Yeah, I'm going to get to that later also. Good morning. How's it? Oh, my afternoon's been good. If you're still with us, even better. But it's just great to be here with you guys, chopping it up. Yes. Well, going to be when will you be 14? Damn it, and that pancake emoji has me hungry. Yes, I got you, IDK. All right. Hate to see Lindor go. Yeah, Chosen, that'd be a great trade, but why would Washington do that? I hate to say that. There's no way. Washington would be high if they traded 2 young players who have had big years for a guy that's regressed this year and is not getting any younger or better for that matter. And I get it that the Mets would have to eat a ton of that contract. I get that. But why would the Nationals do that? Yeah, that. What is my dream lineup for the Mets? Any player from any era. Wow. So I got to go through all the positions. Dream lineup for the Mets. Any player, any era. Well, if I say any player, any era, could I put Babe Ruth and right? No. Seriously, let's see. I can't even speak. I would keep Keith Hernandez at first. Second base. How about Joe Morgan? Shortstop, Ozzie Smith. Third base. Brooks Robinson. How about for that for infield defense? And in the outfield, I got to go for sluggers. How about Griffey Jr. in center? Left field. When I put Bonds there, well, no DH or DH. Listen, he wasn't a great left fielder, but I loved him as a hitter, and I understand steroids and all. I put Manny Ramirez there. And then in right field, oh, what the hell? I put Ichiro. Now, I'm doing this off the top of my head. If I really sat down, I put Strawberry there. Forget about Ichiro. I keep Strawberry there. My catcher, I keep Carter there. Starting pitcher, I know he had Pedro later on, 2005, but how about vintage Pedro, 99 Red Sox? What do you got here, chopping? Heard a lot of rumblings about Holmes and Roberts. Oh, and Robert. Yeah, I don't know how much you're going to get back for Robert, but listen, he's off the team. Terrific. Clay Holmes. I know if the Yankees want him. Rumblings. No, I got you, Chosen. Ketel Marte is a good trade piece. That is. I would certainly. Now, the Mets. Yeah, not going to do that. Weaver to the Dodgers. Can you imagine? Yeah, pencil him in. Imagine that. Luke Weaver, Tanner Scott when Diaz is healthy. I mean, geez. IDK saying, what's up? All right, what do you got chosen? He wants to be as close to the Knicks as possible to the Garden since we shot him down. Yes, I do live in New York. IDK. Why do you? And shout out to Miles, who's also 14 and a follower of the channel. Yeah, wants to be close to. I listen. That's what he wants. That's what he wants. My uncle used to have his own private jet. Oh, is that right? I'm sure your uncle's a pretty famous, if not very wealthy person. Ken Roosevelt reports as we said. Okay. I see you offline. Hang on. If I'm the Marlins sellers, Sandy Alcantara, I mean, he's number one. They'd be stupid to trade away the Otto Lopez's and the Kyle Stowers and even a guy like Xavier Edwards. Is there anybody else? Reliever? Yeah, I think that's it. But no, I can see them being sellers. I mean, it's typical Marlins. So Tuffle Shuffle, Mookie Wilson, Hojo. Yo, those are the Mets. 86 for sure. If the Dodgers get penalized for being smart, then how do the Mets get penalized for spending the most money on that? Oh, God, they get penalized. Yeah. No, and I know what you mean by that. No, now they shouldn't get penalized now. But if I'm the owners, I'd say 3 deferred contracts. And let's say if that were to be the case, what the Dodgers, that would be grandfathered in. So obviously they wouldn't be able to do that. But yeah, the Mets get penalized. Well, obviously they get penalized because they're over the luxury taxes, we know. So that's where they get their penalties. But yeah. How do the Mets get penalized? Their fan base gets penalized because we got to watch this disaster of a team. But no, like I said before, I've said it a million times over. The Dodgers have done things legally. They've done it the right way. We understand it's the system. It's not the team. It's not the GM. It's none of that. Yeah, but yeah, how do the Mets get penalized for spending the most money on bad players? Yeah, by watching that damn product. Ugh. Red Sox deadline rumors not include Giants. Well, I think because of the situation with Curtis Mead with his broken wrist, they need a replacement. He'll fit in nicely at third base, and he also provides a bat. I think they won't have a salary cap unless it's insanely high. Yeah, and obviously they can't guarantee that. Yeah, because what? The Players Association are going to say, oh, we want a salary cap, it's $600 million. What? If that's the case, then it needs to be a floor, and that floor should be $200 million. But we all know that's not going to be it. But there has to be a floor, people. It just can't be a salary cap. I mentioned that before, and I've say it again. Clubs like the Yankees. Chapman to the Yankees. Yeah, Phillies too. That means Alec Boehm gone. Yeah, and listen, if he's been discussed for all these teams, chances are he may be out of here. Popped up there when I searched it up. All right. Hang on. Someone. Yeah, no, I guess. Don't complain about something else. Listen, you won't hear me complain. The Dodgers win again this year. I mean, what can you say? I'm not going to be the one. Oh, I can't believe this. As I've said, I got to be fair. If they've done it fair and square, I can't get on them for winning another World Series. We definitely need to take from the Marlins. Yeah, Vientos, Beatty, Mauricio. Yeah, Beatty, I know. Again, at first, at right field. And, oh, man. What a. Ugh. Yeah, it's funny. The one guy that to me, I have not seen a big sample size is Mauricio. Beatty, I've seen enough of. Vientos, 2 years ago, the guy, you couldn't get him out, and now he's automatic. Yeah, Wayne Simeon. I mean, listen. And Simeon has, what, 2 more years left on his deal? The hell is that? Is that a bug? Yeah, it is. Hold on. I said Wayne Simeon, Marcus Simeon. I was thinking of an old NBA player. You believe that? Marcus, not Wayne. Why was I thinking Wayne? Remember Marcus Simeon from Wayne Simeon from Kansas? Big player at Kansas. Never really made it in the NBA, Miami Heat. I had him on the brain, not Marcus Simeon. So terrible job by me. My bad. Got to own up to that. Yeah, and there was a bug crawling up here. My part of my disruption there. Chosen, same as Robert Polanco's worst trade ever, but we sent him back to Seattle. No, we signed him as a free agent, remember, Chosen. 2 years, $40 million. Can you imagine? Ugh. You wish they would? Bastien, I appreciate you staying up all this time, considering what part of the world you live in. I appreciate that. I really do, Bastien. I'll be there. I can't believe it's in 43. Oh, you're going? Yeah, no, that's good. I know. Carter. I'm thinking there's another person. Ed Hearn. Did Ed Hearn pass away? Backup catcher? Ed Hearn, I think, right? Did he not? No, he's still around. I think he was had some health issues recently. Also have Barry Lyons, another backup catcher. Will Smith, Sharks play. I'm okay with an extension. I don't really mind, not big money. Yeah, listen, they'd be stupid to not to sign him. They will. Yeah, the GM Mike Greer, they will. I'm okay with any contract. Don't mean money. Yes. That will happen, Val. J-Rod, welcome back. Yeah, baseball needs it. I mean, come on. Yes, I saw this. Draymond. You know, the thing about Draymond is interesting because obviously he opted out with the hopes of maybe LeBron coming. And then obviously with that not being the case and him re-upping for 1 year, I mean, no surprise. But, you know. Warriors, oof. That's going to be rough for them next year. Fishing Angel, cheers. Welcome. Good to see you. And your daughter just got Scott. Nice. Yes, as you should be. Now, is she staying local or is she going away? I'm curious. Freddie Peralta to Tampa. I would do that. Who could we take back? Yeah, if Tampa doesn't get Scooble, I could see maybe them going after Peralta. I just send him back to Milwaukee. Oh, that's good. I'm reading the comments here. Bio sending in congrats or awesome. About to cry. Oh, that's great stuff. Congrats. That's awesome. Owner's jersey 2024 missing gets traded. I understand. Yeah, that happens, Val. What are you going to do? Yes, as you should be. Oh, Bastin, you're in the USA. Is that right? Wait a minute. Now, you haven't moved here because weren't you in Hong Kong? And if I screwed that up, my apologies, because I remember those podcast pre-games. I remember Hong Kong, unless you moved here. I think you said you were coming here. Were you not? That I do recall, because it's been a while, so you got to forgive me in my 57-year-old brain, which, yeah, it still works, but, you know, not as sharp as I once did. In fact, can I pivot for a second? Who out here in the room is taking creatine? because I'm actually thinking about doing that. Yes, I understand for strength, all that, but even for brain cognition. So just curious to know if anybody out there is doing that. Yes, Brewers Giants, Valkyries Mercury, road game for your Golden State Valkyries. She's got to talk to her men to the final accounts. Okay. Uh-oh, she has. Nice. Awesome. Uh-huh. Just like I thought. Summer vacation. But Ray, aren't you here in the Northeast? Because I remember you saying that when you were coming here for summer, you were going to be in the Northeast. Are you in Massachusetts, I want to say? Oh, Maine. Maine. Creatine is great. So you take it. But Bastien, you're what, 17, 16? Oh, you did bio. And what did it do for you? I'm curious. I took it in my youth. Oh, is that right, J-Rod? Why? Your brain understands Mets very well. Yeah, and a lot of other sports things, and me, the king of useless knowledge. Oh, me was you taking creatine. Me, all right. I thought you meant Maine because I see now Kentucky. Yeah, 57. Uh-huh. Kentucky. All right, Bastien. Well, welcome. How long are you here for? I'm curious. Sorry, I haven't been on in a minute. I've been working a lot. No, it's fine, Fishing Angel. I appreciate you. I appreciate you hopping on board. Congrats to your daughter. Always good to have you with us here. You know that. 16, I was recommended by a professional. Is that right? Why? Would you mind answering that? 2 weeks. Now, when will you be leaving? Did you just get here, or have you been here for a week? Or are you leaving tomorrow to go back to Hong Kong? I got to get to Hong Kong one day. I definitely want to get to that side of the world. Gave me energy when I used it. When I was a roofer, I don't need that much energy right now. It would break me. Oh, I hear that. Oh, you got it yesterday. Oh, so you're just getting warmed up. Good for you. Well, I hope you enjoy your stay. I hope to see you back tomorrow, Monday, next Wednesday, etc., if you can. But no, good for you, Bastien. Now to go back to J-Rod's comment. Gave me energy, used it when I was a roofer, didn't need much energy. Yeah, and the funny thing is that, yeah, I want to start lifting again. You guys know how much I love to run. But as you get older, yeah, I need to start gaining some muscle. Because as we all know, especially get to my age, and people of my age, they don't lift weight as much. Yeah, they may cut down on what they eat, or yeah, they may exercise or go for walks or maybe run or get on a bike, which is great. But the three things you lose as you get older, especially if you don't use it: muscle, balance, flexibility. And my balance isn't too bad. Flexibility could be better, and muscles certainly could be better. So that's one thing I got to keep in mind. And the other thing is for the brain cognition too, because I understand rest, nutrition is imperative as well as the exercise. But yeah, I also like to gain some muscle. And trust me, I'm not trying to be huge, enormous, whatever. I just want to be lean, a little cut, and creatine in reading up on it. And I know creatine's always been good, but now it's like the craze is even more. And I understand it sounds like I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. And I want to take good creatine. I don't want to take with all these fillers and citric acid and none of this garbage. But I appreciate the response from people here. And Bio, I know you took the gummies. I'm curious to know what it did for you. And for you, Bastien, also, how do you feel too? I mean, 16. I know that you should take 5 grams, maybe 10 tops, especially for brain function. 10, they say, is good. 10 grams. You know, I'm not going to be on here putting 20 grams and, no. That ain't happening. Fishing Angel. How have you been, J. Rose and his wife? Wife's been good. She's working. Me, plugging away. Trying to find different things. I'm also going to be part of, which I may go on live. It may launch tomorrow, the Steelers' latest. I haven't gotten the official word. In fact, let me check my email. I know I haven't gotten a text. Oh, yeah, Met game's about to start. If I go to my email, hang on. Yeah, because I may be tomorrow where I could be launching that Steeler latest channel. And again, it's just all Steeler content. So, and it's not live either, it's recorded. Hey, what's going on here? Oh, here we go. I was waiting for my emails to populate. No, nothing yet. But no, everything is good. Just plugging away and always trying to find that lane, always trying to find not necessarily a shortcut because we all know you take shortcuts in life, but trying to continue to blaze my path, carve my lane, doing this, and hoping to get paid for it in the process. Not that it's all about the money, but you guys know my story. So, but I appreciate you asking as always, Fishing Angel. Thank you. My dad's friend is a professional bodybuilder. He recommended that because I want bigger muscle growth. And you're 16. All right. Is now the best time to take that? I mean, your body's still developing. Maybe now would be a good time, I guess. Yeah, if you're any younger, maybe be a bit of a question mark. But and then J Rod, my back wouldn't take that much energy right now to break me out. Yeah, we don't want that. J Reels, your brain understand Mets sports. Yeah, I know. I guess that's a compliment. I would take that, Val. But yeah, my brain it's sports 24 hours, 7 days a week. I used creatine when I was younger to gain weight. Oil of oregano is excellent. I haven't tried that, but everybody, especially if you feel like you're going to be run down, sick, flu, fever, whatever, definitely take that. To me, that is the cure of all ills. I love how health conscious my people are. All right, you take 8 grams for moderation. All right. I know they say 5. Oh, that's good. 8 is good. Creatine is my beach body. Yeah, I'm sure. I used to drink powder with a scoop of one every morning, right? Yeah, I would definitely do that. I haven't done so yet. I actually, to be honest, I did purchase. My wife also wants to take creatine too. Not that she lifts or exercises, but again, for brain health and at her age, starting to go through those bodily hormonal functions. So, but yeah, I want to get more. I got it actually from this company called Sun Warrior, which it's plant based, and I don't want to plug it. I mean, I'm plugging it now, I guess you could say, but I have it in my cabinet. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you posted with that because, yeah, I will start taking that regularly as early as probably Monday because I've been doing some more research. You know, I could jump right into it and do it, but funny enough, asking the question here to you guys and gals. No, I appreciate that wholeheartedly. I really do. And it seems like it's been positive, but I understand. Creatine, depending on how much you take, I remember years ago, you get that bloated look. But again, if you're taking, and I'm sure there's a lot of guys that want to double and triple their dose because they want to have that energy and push that much more in the gym. So, of course, it's going to inflate you more. But I don't want to get inflated. I don't. I just want to be leaner, cut. I know I got to start lifting, and I have my weights over there. Shout out to the old weight company that, as I'm looking at them here, I forgot the name of it. Nortec? I think it was Nortec. The adjustable weights. What does my wife do for work? She's a payroll manager at a high-end restaurant. Neighbor of mine still flying six flags. Is he really? Yeah. Yeah, that flag's going to be up until next year, I would think. And I'm sure he's from New York, I take it, Bio. Unless you're just a big-time Knicks fan. Yeah, I appreciate all your responses there with the creatine. That's interesting how you didn't really feel the difference, Bio, in oil of oregano. How often do you take oil of oregano? Do you still take it today? Yeah, I got to get some of that. Oh, we don't want Freddie Peralta. Yeah, I got to get some of that. That, and also, which is very good, not the powdered, because the powder doesn't really have the life, is spirulina. Spirulina is excellent. But you got to get the more live, either frozen or liquid. Liquid's tough because that's why you got to keep it frozen because it lasts longer. If it's liquid form, you got to consume that sucker within a couple of weeks. What's this? I did the thumbs down just because I wanted to. Oh, is that right? Fishing Angel, I did protein. What's the gain weight? Oh, and the protein shakes too? Of course I didn't do that. J-Rod. We miss you on here, J-Rod. But I understand you got life, you got fishing, a lot going on. What's happening with that? I'm curious. Don't blame creatine on Mets poor decisions. No, I won't. I will not, I promise. Yeah. Maybe your wife could do the Mets salary cap. Yes. She could be a capologist. Oh, just the protein milks? Fishing Angel? You know, as I read that again, I'm thinking, imagine that. She ends up being a capologist. That'd be funny. I wonder what would happen if I laced a joint with creatine. Ooh, that'd be scary, I think. Would it not? I don't know. I wouldn't know. I've never smoked in my life, but that would be something. And protein milks, 42 grams of protein. Oh, like the muscle milk? Fishing Angel, is that what you're referring to? That's what I meant. I know you said the protein milks to gain weight. Yeah, muscle milk. I used to drink that once upon a time. Then I stopped. Oh, no tournaments in July. Oh, okay. Too much fish. Kill next month. Go time. No, that's awesome. Now let me think. Are the tournaments near you? How far? I remember last year you had that one in upstate New York. But the tournaments in August, let's say the first couple, you have to give me the whole list. How close are those tournaments to you? I gained 3 pounds by the end of the day. I've lost the weight. Oh, so you can drink them in the morning, you gain 3 pounds at the end of the day. You got that fire metabolism there, Fishing Angel. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, I'm 113, was 116. Wow. If we could only be so fortunate to have the weight come off just like that. No, that's great. Clippers reported. Yeah, I saw that. That ESPN article this morning, I was reading that. The Clippers, who else was that? I think I still have that article up because I hadn't finished reading it. Where is that? Yeah, it was them. Yeah, we know Miami, yeah, Celtics. Yeah, could you imagine if he would have been a Clipper? That would have been bad. I mean, not going to win anyway, but I got you, Bio. I see your question. Lake Erie and home Lake Huron are close to us. Oh, that's good. Within a couple hours? Fishing Angel, any advice on how to gain weight? Obviously, carb up. Carbs, carbs, carbs. I don't know if you... I know you don't do bread. What about I'm sure you do pasta. I know you love Italian. I'd say pasta. For breakfast, you want to do pancakes. Oh, French toast is more bread, but pancakes. You could do oatmeal. Now, oatmeal, those are good carbs. But you can load it with a bunch of stuff like I do. Yeah, I put a ton of fruit. Yeah, I'd say oatmeal. What else? Yeah, because if you eat a lot of, let's say if you do chicken and with a salad or chicken and a veggie, that's good. You're definitely going to lose weight by doing that. But even if you're throwing a complex carb like a sweet potato, I don't know if you love sweet potatoes. Um, but yeah, I would say load up on carbs. Thoughts on the Clippers? Well, with Kawhi in Toronto, we don't know what the hell's going on with that whole deal with the aspiration, the whole circumventing the cap by Steve Ballmer. And I believe, isn't that still under investigation? Yeah, the Clippers. I think they're going to be a bad team. I mean, come on, Darius Garland and who do they got in that trade for Kawhi? Brandon Ingram. Did Bradley Beal get let go from the Clippers? Yeah, it's not going to be a good team. You know, I got to pull up their roster. Let me just get a better feel. No score, Mets bottom first. Ooh, Phillies up 6-0 on the Marlins. So it looks like they're going to salvage that series with a win. Arizona, Pittsburgh, Diamondbacks up 2-0. Let me see. Let's go Clippers. Why is that coming up again? Jeez, get this out of here. I know. I still got to get to my next topic, NFL, which I want to do so. Let's see. Yeah, the Clippers. Yeah, I don't think they're going to have a big season. They just got Janai Broom. That was a kid from Auburn, right? Wasn't he that? All right, here's your roster. Janai Broom. Yeah, Chris Dunn. Rui Hachimura. Derek Jones Jr. They still have Kawhi listed here. Brooke Lopez, Benedict Mathurin. Yeah, this is not a good team. Keaton Wagley, yeah, the kid from Illinois. Yeah, I know Kawhi's still on it. Yeah, they got to take Kawhi out. I mean, who knows if this deal's going to get 86th. Yeah, I listen, I don't like the Clippers. Yeah, I do not. That's got a runner on second. Hold on. It's Carson Bench grounded out. All right. Sean Mania on the mound. All right. Let me go back to your comments and I'll pivot. Not a lot of weight. Like 120 is where I want to be. No, it's not bad. You could definitely do that. Carb up. I know you don't do bread, though. Bread will also be helpful. Fishing Angel eats like she's 300 pounds, but he's one time. Yeah, load up on pasta. And not even just like spaghetti, whatever. If you can make lasagna, because you got the cheese there, rigatoni. You want to do the bigger pastas. If you do the linguinis and the spaghettis, it's pasta at the end of the day. But I think you want to do the bigger pastas, if you ask me. Lake Erie's hour. Get there in 25 minutes. Wow. No, that's good. Close by. Garland, Mathurin, Rui. Yeah, I still don't like them. I don't think they listen, maybe 35 wins. And I understand we're still in the offseason. We got to see what happens if they're going to bring anybody else on board. But yeah, Clippers, I think they're going to have a long year. I do the carbs and burn the calories. It's so frustrating. Let me see. Yeah, I guess if you even the protein milks, Yeah, I wouldn't want you to go ahead and start eating junk like fried chicken and stuff like that. Mac and cheese. I mean, that'll get you to 120 if you do that, but no, that's unhealthy. So it's nice to be able to go home and sleep in your own bed during the tournament. Oh, that's good. Make potatoes. That's it, Fishing Angel. Make sure that whatever it is that you're going to eat, now I understand you're not going to have potatoes with everything, but obviously you can do them a million different ways. French fried, baked, mashed. Pistons went silent with Durant. Yeah, I know. They have. And what have they done this offseason? They've been real quiet. What about my Warriors? Will they do well? I don't think they will, Val. I mean, a team with Draymond, we know the cast of characters are. They have their resumes speak for themselves, but that's not going to equate to, I think, competitive basketball. They'll compete. They'll play well, but they're going to be at the bottom of the conference. 7 through 10 again. Is that what you want for a proud franchise with those players? Mets will win. We'll have 2 games today. Hopefully they win both. That'd be nice. Thank you, Val. J-Rod and a teenager. All right, good. Back to school. They start that early? Wow. It's going time, yes. Our power went up when 11:30, come back to 4:45. Now, did it come back 4:45 a.m. or 4:45 p.m.? Wow. So you love your potatoes. Yep, there he goes. It's like star. Yes, J-Rod. Well, potatoes will do that. But I guess Fishing Angels just got to keep keeping on. Just try to do what you can to gain the weight. All right. Let me touch on a couple other things here. I was going to get to this. I'm going to talk about them tomorrow, the White Sox. And then Harper, we need help after losing the first 2 in Miami. Obviously, they're winning today, but I'm still going to talk about that. I'll save that for tomorrow for the pod. Now, and I'll get back to your comments momentarily. NFL training camp in full swing. A lot of storylines have come out. Tons. And I'll start with the good, then the bad, and then the ugly. I'll start off with the good. If you're a fan of the Eagles or Browns, shout out to the novice. Eagles re-signed Jalen Carter, top defensive lineman in the history of the sport. What do you get? For $154 million. Now, he just needs to behave, keep his head on straight. But between Denzel Ward, and I should have saved the last question. You know what? Can I do that now? Let's see. Hold on. Should have saved that. All right, let's get back and do this. Ready? All right, so we'll start there. Whoop, hang on, I lost it. Boom. Yeah, we'll start there. Let me finagle this. All right. Yeah, I'm, of course, adding these banners way too late. So, but yes, as far as why has that come up? Why is this making me look like a novice? Can we start here again? The 9:45 podcast pregame. We haven't had one of those in a while, as I said earlier. Obviously, they need to sign these players. Eagles, we know how talented Carter is, although he is a bit of a head case. And Denzel Ward gets the bag, highest paid cornerback in football. That's the good if you're those 2 teams. The bad is the second thing I was going to put up is this. Early injuries. No Michael Penix. I know earlier Val came out with Tua Tagovailoa with a back issue, flare up. He's out indefinitely. The Falcons signed Cooper Rush, formerly of the Cowboys, and I believe he's also on the Ravens last year. Now, again, it's early in camp. You would think these guys will be on the mend and will be monitored day in and day out, because the last thing that the Falcons want to start their season off with Cooper Rush under center. And mind you, the Falcons' first game of the regular season will be in Pittsburgh to play the Steelers, which, of course, is a team on this list. But you have that. And then Philly, even though you had the good news there with Jalen Carter, but they're also having an issue with Jonathan Grenard, who they brought over from Minnesota to go along on that defensive line with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and the like. So he has a pectoral issue. He's on the PUP list. So you got that going on. And then lastly, with the Steelers, you have Jalen Ramsey and Joey Porter Jr. with a knee and a back, respectively. And the Steelers, whose defense was atrocious last year, they're going to need those guys. So hopefully they'll be on the mend. They'll be ready week one, which you would think. But, last thing any Steeler fan wants to see is any of their key starters go down with injury, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So there's that there to deal with. And then the ugly, Baker Mayfield, who did not get an extension. He's going into the last year of his contract. Baker, who has had good years, took his team to the playoffs in 23-24, not last year, as the Carolina Panthers won a division and went on and came this close to beating the Rams in a wild card game. Well, if I'm Baker Mayfield, I can understand why I'm upset. Out of respect, should have been a deal negotiated. Maybe the Buccaneers think that, despite him taking the Buccaneers to the playoffs in those two aforementioned years, but not doing it last year, what have you done for me lately? And listen, Baker can't play. Good quarterback, gutsy quarterback, somewhat of a swashbuckler. But I guess you can say that about any quarterback, just about, unless you're Josh Allen. Even Josh Allen has his warts. But Baker Mayfield, for a guy that was a former number one overall pick, has had his moments, good moments, high moments. But I think the Buccaneers did the smart thing. Now, mind you, it's a little risky because if he has a killer year and he's probably going to want to get $50 million elsewhere, which somebody will probably give him that type of contract, what does that mean for the Bucs after, if Baker does have an MVP type year? Well, remember, a lot of people thought he was MVP of the league after week 6, which is a joke because we all know it's an 18-game or 18-week, 17-game season. But if I'm Mayfield, the chip is back on the shoulder. I get it. And if you're the Buccaneers, yeah, I want to see it. But maybe that's a game of chicken that the Bucs didn't have to extend them 3 or 4 years. They could have just given him an extra year on top of this year and take it from there. But they're rolling the dice. The same for Baker Mayfield to show his worth, to show that he's going to bet on himself to have that big year. And if he doesn't, then they'll say sayonara, and then Baker Mayfield will be, who knows? He'll get another job, but if he doesn't have a big year, people are going to think like, do I really want to put all of the Baker Mayfield eggs into one basket? Probably not. So those are the early storylines here in training camp. As a lot of camps opened up yesterday. I believe some open today, and I want to say the final go-around will be tomorrow, if not everybody is in camp throughout all 32 NFL teams. Let's see. All right. Let me get your comments. Yeah, scroll too far back. Hold on. All right. That's why Fishing Angel. You're right. That was the last one. All right, here we go. Our son goes back August 24th. Will be 11th grade. Oh, good. Wow, that's early. Ugh. No, I don't, husband. You tell him, Fishing Angel. Not going to stand for these comments and jokes. You slap me in the leg. I know. And she says, you better be. I'm sure she's giving you looks across the room or wherever you are in the at the home. Warriors extended players on the team. No free agency signings. Just to be bottom, but I'm a Warriors fan. You have to deal with it. Yeah. Got no choice, Val. It's your team. Needs to be paid. At what cost? That's the thing. I'm sure he wants 50 some odd million a year, but there's a lot of quarterbacks that are making that much and haven't pulled their weight. Tony Romo, yes. Oh, he got fired? I did not hear that. Hold on. Yeah, I know he had that DUI. Oh, the Marlins scored 3 runs. Now it's 6-3. Huh. 3-run homer by Heriberto Hernandez. Oh, 2-run homer, and then Otto Lopez. Okay. No score in a Met game. Bottom 2. Let's see. Did Tony Romo... because I cannot type today. DUI. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not been fired by CBS. We know about the incident. Romo remains under a lucrative 10-year, $180 million contract. Meanwhile, he is, again, business, never personal. Michael Penix Jr. Oh, I think he will. Yeah, I think he will. Val. I see bad things happening for the Lions this season. So much. All right, Camel feel the hard bone. Yeah, the Lions, I tell you, Terry and Arnold, they released him. Yeah, that's just a tough break. Golf, what's that? I seen EBS firing him. Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't see any articles. Let me see. Yeah, Yahoo Sports. CBS was reportedly not firing Tony Romo after his arrest. Tony Romo won't be fired from CBS games, but may step back. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see that here, J-Rod. If what you have is true, you got a scoop. Mayfield, does he choke in the playoffs? Yeah, he didn't play well against Washington, the game 2 years ago. And then before that, they hung tough against the Lions. Lost that game. But no, he doesn't choke. Big guys had a healthy season in the playoffs since he's been in Tampa. I don't think so either. It was on my Google home feed the other day, probably clickbait. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, because it'll say so. I hate those headlines. Oh, those headlines that come out and say CBS announcer fired over DUI. You're like, what? And then you go back and check. And then, yeah, it's all clickbait. Yeah, I can't stand that. All right, this is for Val. Sharks signed Macklin Celebrini to record contract, which eclipsed the contract of Leo Carlson, the Anaheim forward, who the Flyers originally had signed to an offer sheet where the Ducks were able to match that. And that was the highest paid contract annually, 18 million a year. Do the math. Well, now at 5 for 94, that's 18.8 million. And Celebrini, 20 years old. The guy's had a tremendous start to his career. Last year had what, 130 some odd points? What did he have last year? I mean, his numbers were staggering. NHL. Here we go. Yeah, the current contract runs through 2031-32. Number one pick of the 2024 draft. Set a Sharks franchise record with 115 points last season while finishing second, or with the second most goals in team history. No, they had to do it. This kid is he's already a stud. Celebrini has 178 points, 70 goals, 108 assists in 152 games with the Sharks. He was also the leading goal scorer at the Milan Cortina Olympics as part of Team Canada's silver medal winning roster. 115 points, third most by a teenager in NHL history behind Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby. Yeah, give it up. So Celebrini, I'm happy for him. I like him as a player a lot. How could you not? I get it that they play in the West Coast. I don't watch a lot of their games, but I know that Olympic game, he was all over the place. The gold medal final. And Val, I'm sure you're doing handstands just at the thought of that. So kudos to Celebrini and the family. All right, let's see. I didn't even click it. Oh, no, that's fine. I've done that before too, J-Rod. I hate that. You get hoodwinked. It's nonsense. Larkin stay in Detroit now. I know. Eiserman guy. I didn't talk about that either. Maybe I touched on it briefly. What was that, about 10 days ago? Yeah, I don't know. Larkin said he wants to get traded, but I don't know. Patrick Kane to go back to Chicago. Yep. Oh, no, Fishing Angel. I skipped your comment. I hate this from the standpoint of, yeah, because unlike the other feed where I could update it to show all the comments, not just the top comments. Let me see. Here's the last comment I got from you. This one. You better be to, of course, your significant other. And you know the reference. I don't have to repeat that one. But that was the last thing I saw from you. I'm scrolling slowly. Hold on. Let's see. All right. Checking on the pup here. Yeah, skip the comment. I hate when that happens. When will yeah, when is he due? With his rookie contract? Three-year, 2.8. Yeah, I think he's a free agent after this year. Yeah, restricted free agent at the end of 26-27. So a team can actually try to sign Will Smith with an offer sheet. And of course, with the restricted, the Sharks can match. So, yeah, definitely have to keep that in mind when we get to this time next year. All right. I mean, there we go. Why didn't want to do that. I wanted to save that. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Yeah, I wanted to save that. I was thinking about posting something. Oh, I haven't transferred that yet. Hold on. Damn it. Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, I didn't do that. All right, you posted new ones. Tell me what you think. I still don't see them. Can I change it? Oh, hi, man. What if I show the comments on? No, that's not going to do it. Hold on. What is this? No, that's not going to work. That's the referral link. Yeah, I don't see the other comments. Yeah, I see you posted new ones and it says, tell me what you think. This is the one you posted after, and I don't see any. And it says, tell me what you think, please. Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing up. Hold on. When streaming to a profile. Is that right? Hold on a second. Jeez. Yeah, bear with me, people. For whatever the reason. Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out on the fly. That's me live. Oh, we don't want that. How could I change this? Yeah, Fishing Angel. I don't know what's happening. Wait, hold on. Turn off notifications. No, I want to turn them on. No, they're already turned on. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't see them. Oh, that's the comment? Yeah, because I posted new ones. I don't see them. Tell me what you think. Ugh. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know why I can't see them. But like you said, that's the comment. Oh, that's the comment I was talking about. Oh, all right. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm lost over here, Fishing Angel. I guess with my brain going in different directions. My apologies. Yeah, need to snap out of it, right? Wake up. Yeah, because sometimes I know when I fall behind on these threads and I'm catching up, I say, wait a minute, you posted new ones? I don't see them. Well, and so, yeah, I'm lost. So, again, my apologies. I haven't talked to Brent. I have not spoken to him. I texted him a while ago. When did I last text him? Wait, let me get this out. Hold on. Stand by. Hold on. Whoop. Let's fix that mic there. B-Rent. I remember during the fires a couple of weeks ago. Let's see. No, it was actually before that. Yeah, he said, thanks for reaching out. We'll reply later. This was back in June. Yeah, I haven't spoken to him. I got to reach out to him again. Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted with Brent. But no, I have not spoken to him. 3-year contract. Is that official? Val, I know you're on top of it, so I don't have to worry about that. Scuba, 1,000 strikeouts, just got the first bat of the game. Nice. That's the comment I was talking about what you said. Oh, Baez is back? Yeah, I know he'd been out. Yeah, and you're right about Will Smith there, Val. Did not do well. Thank you, Val. Oh, hey, Bastien. Listen, I understand. I appreciate you hanging with me, and I know you just got here yesterday. I hope to see you a few more times before you leave. I really appreciate you stopping by, and again, my condolences to your pup and, of course, your family. Thinking about you guys, yeah, because that's rough. I will say this: our pup is 3.5, and if my wife was on here, she'd probably strangle me. Listen, anytime you lose a pet, and I've had pets in the past, and it's been highly difficult. But heaven forbid, and hopefully she lives for 150 more years. But the day that she's no longer around, oh, she must be, yeah. She just texted me now. Look at that. She's not watching, but she's hearing me. The day that Kismet is no longer here, you think I'm going to take it bad? Oh, geez. Forget about it. Hang on. Yeah. I don't even, that day I do not look forward to at all. Awesome, Bastian. I appreciate you. 11 a.m. sharp. Or Kentucky, I think you're maybe an hour behind. Maybe. If I'm not mistaken. I'm doing this on the fly. All right. Let's see. Awesome, Bastian. Appreciate that. You came back yesterday, went 2 for 3, 2 RBI. Oh, wow. Yeah, what is the score in that game? No, we don't want that. 3-zip. No score in a Met game. Arizona still up, and then still 6-3. Top 7 for Phillies Marlins. Let me check one other thing. Hold on. Hang on, guys. Hang on. Let me see. Nope. Let's go there. All right, let's go back. All right. 3-zip. Yep. Orioles. Well, 3-zip Tigers over the Orioles. I think 3-year contract Will Smith, Sharks player. Yeah, I don't know. That probably get 3-4 years. I think they gave him 5 the most. Val, we shall see. Tigers 14-0. Was that the final yesterday? Jeez. That's a football score. J. Will's wife not watching but listening to him. Good stuff. I don't even know, but she certainly. Here I am talking about Kismet and how she would react to that. She sends me a text. So part of me is like, oh, is she telepathically? I will do that, Fishing Angel. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, then you have the hold-ins. I didn't even talk about that. Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah, hold-ins. Yeah, I'll talk more about that tomorrow. Let's see. What else I got, people? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I'll save for tomorrow because I understand I don't want to regurgitate a lot of the stuff that you heard me say today, even though I got most of your comments, which is great. And, of course, keep coming with the comments. My thing is that I never, ever want to talk about what I did today, tomorrow. Now, of course, the trade deadline is going to be a big part of that to start us off. And if any rumors are going to come about in the next 24 hours, of course, I'll bring that up. But, yeah, NFL, talk about that. Obviously, the LeBron thing is in our rearview mirror. You want to talk about him going the helicopter from New York to Philly while he lives in New York? I guess you could say that. But no, I won't touch on that. Yeah, Celebrini I'll bring up, but I'll bring up from a different perspective because even though I've said, oh, I like him, this and that, but yeah, Celebrini's he's a great player already at 20. But yeah, I'll get into all that. Latest with the which I didn't discuss, the lay of the land in Major League Baseball. All I'll say is this: Can the White Sox show up tonight? I understand they lost 3-2 or 3-0, but come on. And I'll get into more about them tomorrow. And let's see if the Marlins can come back. Because, like I said, if they lose this game, that's not saying they're going to start selling, but who knows? As they board a plane to come to New York for 4 days, they may be thinking, let's sell. If they come back and win and they get a game, now they'll gain a game in this series because remember, they were 3 back of the Phillies. Well, they'll gain a game, but is that going to be enough? Who knows? And obviously, I'll break down the wild card scenarios, yada, yada, as we get that much closer. And yeah, that's pretty much it, peeps. Yeah, if you got anything else to say, anything else to share, anything else that's on your mind, please feel free. I'll be more than happy to follow up. And then I guess at that point, I will sign off. Let's see. It says Scrooble states if they get below that, he is gone. Yeah. Yeah, I'll get into the schedule the Tigers play over the weekend, unless you happen to know that off the top of your head there, Jay. Sharks fan, Saturday Warriors fan. Like Mets, yeah, of course. Oh, big time sellers. September 3rd coming up on a 30. I know, it's crazy. Because August 3rd, Monday's the deadline, so 30 days from then. Football is part of our consciousness. It is here, people. And I know J-Rod is going to be, forget about it. You're salivating now. I can only imagine when we get to September 3rd. It's signed to a. Yeah, that's his current contract, but he's up for one, as we talked about, after this year. He'll be a restricted. A's are next. All right, beat up on them. Yeah, I'll tune into this Met game once I sign off. End of 3rd. Let's see, School's line so far. 4 innings, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts. All right. All right, my good people. I think that will do it. Another live stream just about in the books. Appreciate you all for hanging in there, stopping by, carving out precious time out of your day to listen to what it is I have to say about what goes on in the world of sports. And as always, if you haven't done so, please subscribe. For those who are hopped on for the very first time or are listening, they're going to be in Sacramento. Okay, I got you, Jay. Hold on. Put that up there. And as you know, I'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Let's get it up here. Boom. Obviously, chiming in the room. We'll talk about the comments afterwards. You already know how I operate. Any last thoughts in the chat room? I'll entertain right now, of course. You already know about this, and you already know about that. I continue to hammer away, people. As you know, this is what I love to do. In the blood and the DNA. You know what? Let me see if I can do something real quick before I sign off. I got to show you this. Hang on. Because this was the other day, and I'd be remiss considering. I'll do that. These two. All right. Yeah, I was going to connect that there, but you'll get a kick out of this. Saturday night, this past Saturday, City Field, Waffle Iron, if you're still with us. All right, hang on. No, I think I could still. Hold on. Yeah, all these windows. Come on. All right. Open up. I should be able to still share this, right? Better. All right, that goes there. Hold on. Can I maximize this? No, I don't want to do that. Hold on. I can't because I shot it in a particular format. You guys probably wondering, J Reels, what the hell are you doing? All right, stand by. Let me see if I can share this. Share screen. I can't share this. Oh, window. Hold on. Oh, yeah. All right, get ready, guys. Check it out. All right, so here I am, Citi Field. The Mets lose to the Dodgers. Shocker. Although they made it interesting, but what's really interesting is look who I'm here with tonight. None other than, that's right, Fuqua Johnson, a.k.a. Tatsuya Mai, a.k.a. Rona Penmark, a.k.a. Everyday Mets, Dad Ships, Jonathan Shawcup, you name it. He invited me to the game tonight, and it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome. Fuqua, here he is, live. What's up, guys? What's up? So, Meyer, the Dodgers won. No surprise. But, you know, hey, we had a great time. Oh, yeah. Good time. And, yes, Fuqua, now, of course, here now you get to see who Fuqua is. Although the Mets lost, but we still had a great time. So, yes, absolutely. And hopefully we'll do it again before this dreadful season ends. Oh, yeah, for sure. So there you have it. That was him. All the AKAs, as you already know. Yeah, he invited me to the game the other night. We had a great time. Actually talked about seedless and seeded watermelon, which was good toward the end. And he's like, J Reels, seeded watermelon. You know, I understand seeded watermelon is more expensive and etc. And not that I thumb my nose at seedless watermelon, but I mean, all these posts that are coming out now about seeded. And now, listen, I knew about that, but yeah. So let's see. All right. Yes, have a great day. Oh, thank you, Fishing Angel. Everybody jumped off board. Have a wonderful day. Go Sports there. Thank you, J-Rod. Thank you, everybody. Val, you're the best. Bio, to everybody else, Waffle Iron, you name it, Toppers, Bastien, IDK, you already know. I appreciate you all. From the South Bronx, South Beach, South Central, South Pacific, all points beyond. Peace, love, and God bless. Hopefully tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time, I'll see you all. Latest podcast. We'll chop it up then. Until next time on the J Reels live stream on the Flip, baby.